Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Look at that. I did it all backwards and screwed it up. Anyways, Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with the Lumberjack Landlord. How you doing, bud?
I'm super excited to talk about this one, actually.
Yeah. So if you know my story at all, it obviously starts with single family homes back in '02. I go to a real estate meetup in '06-ish. I get introduced to this concept of affordability index, which I knew nothing about. I do some research. I realize for me, it's the magic sauce. It tells me to sell my homes, which I do, and I move into apartments. Bingo, bango. I'm sitting in apartments when housing crashes, and my market crashed 75%. Not that I would have lost anything, but I would not be financially free if I did not make that move. So the affordability index is a big deal. It is my smoking gun, canary in the coal mine, whatever you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I believe what just happened in the last 2 weeks, combining price with just massive interest rates moves. I just validated with Matt, the mortgage guy, 30-year money, owner OC, now 5.25.
Yeah.
This thing is racing.
Yeah.
So I read an article from Fortune, validated on Forbes, that the affordability index nationwide is back to kind of '06 levels. And that's a problem. Now you're obviously real estate is hyper local, so do your own research. But as somebody who talks housing all the time, housing is unaffordable. And not only are we going to have supply destruction, which we have beaten to death, now we're going to have true demand destruction. So, man, this interest rate rise into an environment where prices are up 15% is just not good, right?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think that, so it is hyper local. Nationally, we're certainly going to see it. Some people are finally going to be able to buy the house that they wanted. You know, there's definitely going to be the opportunity for that. There's plenty of people getting DQ'd, disqualified because of debt to income, or now what the payment is, or whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to follow the path that you and I have talked about. I think that transactions over the course of April, May, and June are going to be hot garbage. I think they're not going to be very good. I think they're going to be a massive decline. I'm already taking meds because of all the YouTube videos that there's going to be about the housing market crash.
Yeah.
Because it's still not a crash. Transactions will crash. I don't disagree. And then I think prices start to follow, but that means that you're not going to see real pricing, like significant pricing. I don't think you're going to start to see that stuff until probably mid Q3 of this year. Because I think that in our market, everything that hits still sells and still sells. If it's under 400K,
for me, it
still sells multi-offer.
For me, it's about inventory.
Yeah. Because
with what I see coming, again, I don't know if I wish I had like a whiteboard. Next to, do I have a whiteboard? Do I like have a small? I don't know. Anyways, I think I do, but I don't know what it is. I got a lot of stuff in this office. Anyways, like if we kind of baseline the market January 1st of this year, just baseline these numbers. The supply, let's just use, was 100, but the demand was like 800. Right. It was. That's why you got 20 offers. 100K over list, wave condition. It was kind of that imbalanced. If you want to argue it was 600 or 1,000, I don't care. But it was about 8-1. As we sit here today in April, supply is still probably 100. Demand now is probably 300, because I'm hearing from agents all over the globe that open houses are less, offers are less, but they're still coming.
Yes.
So instead of 8-1, it's 3-1.
Yep.
So if it's the perfect property and it's priced right, it still sells.
Yes.
Now, fast forward 6 months, only 6 months.
Yes.
Shoot, only 3 months.
Yes.
Here is what I think is coming.
Okay.
That supply number that was 100 in the first two ratios is now 40. Demand that went from 800 to 300 is now 90.
Right.
We're still 3-1.
Correct. Yep.
Because yes, affordability is a problem. Yes, less people, but also less people are going to be moving because I think it was Yahoo Finance first coined it. I think it was Bank of America then Yahoo Finance copied this channel. I call it supply destruction. They call it the interest rate trap.
Yeah.
And again, I think we have a supply problem. I think it goes lower. I don't know. I just don't know how you have a pricing. I don't know how you have any price deterioration as supply and demand kind of fall in unison. If you're still 3-to-1, supply demand is undefeated.
Yeah.
I don't know. So tell me where I'm wrong, because I don't see prices coming down at all. I mean, this is nationally speaking. Your local market's different.
I think we do start to see some stuff roll over from the top.
Yeah.
In that summer time frame, getting into school season.
Yeah.
Where parents have to make the decision for school systems and things like that, and we gotta just get this wrapped up.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I think that's where I'm not, I think by next year, by the end of next year, we're going to see between a 10 and 20% decline by the end of next year, 2023.
Yeah.
I think that starts this year, but very marginally, because I think that a lot of the people in the $500,000 house are not selling. They are not going to sell. They are going to sit there. They're not going to sell. So the stuff that continues to roll is going to be the lower stuff. It's going to be the 300 to 400 stuff. That's going to be the stuff that continues to sell. And there's going to be that much less on the market. I think personally, not that Washington's ever done anything stupid. I think that they do a first-time home buyer program that makes things really bad and makes them even more aggressive on the other side. And then even doing something like, the way that they formulated their 40s is 10 years interest only and then 30 years with principal there.
Yeah.
That 10 years is probably a good idea, but then you're going to have a bunch of people probably in 10 years maybe selling. I mean, I get the idea is if you kick it out 10 years, then there's income, there's appreciation, there's all these other things. I have properties that weren't from the crash in 07. I have properties that weren't worth the same thing 10 years later.
Yeah. I had properties that I sold in 06 that were not back to that price until 2021. That's 15 years.
Yeah. Yep. So we've seen, and that was as deep as they get. I mean, your market went down 75%. My particular market where that stuff was probably went down about 25, 30. But it took that long to recover. We have much shallower swings than the Fresno market in my mind.
Yeah. But so affordability is something I truly believe. I think it is now for the masses unaffordable.
Yeah.
But so for me, it really boils down to not who buys, because that answer is always the same, but who sells. And dude, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know who sells. I mean, there's always reasons you have to sell: death, divorce, job transfer, whatever. So that still happens. But to me, it goes back. Nobody ever has this data. There's lots of data on who buys. There's no data that I could find. If you could find it, please send it to me on who sells.
Yes.
I believe the largest pool of buyers, because again, 6 million transactions, that means there were 6 million buyers and 6 million sellers. That's what it means.
Right.
I believe the two largest buckets are move-up buyers and baby boomers downsize. That's my belief. If you have the data, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know why those two happen. Maybe if you're a baby boomer and you own it free and clear, sure. Because, hey, you bought it for $8,000 and now it's worth 800. Who cares if you get 700? I get it. But I think a lot of baby boomers are like my parents, where they used the house as an ATM. It's the only way we survived a couple of years. It was so bad. So if you have a bunch of debt, right? You bought it for $8,000, it's worth 800, but you got $500,000 in debt. I don't think you downsize. Maybe I just don't think you do.
I don't think you do. I don't think you can.
Yeah, because again, you're going to pay taxes, right? You've already spent most of that. And I don't know. I just don't. Affordability, I truly believe.
Yeah.
I did not think it's only gotten this bad, this fast one time before in 1980 or 81. It has to calm down. But I think it goes higher. I mean, we're at 5.25 as of April 12th, validated from At the Mortgage Guy. Do you think it's 6% by June?
Maybe. I'd say 50-50, Because
Yeah.
I look at it and I think my consideration is this is not done based on rates rising
No,
or
this is,
the Fed funds rate rising. They haven't done it yet.
they've done a quarter. They've done
They haven't
one.
done it yet. This
No.
is literally, so Mike, this is something that I brought up probably 2 months ago. My bigger concern was them not buying as much paper or selling their paper.
And that's the thing that, yeah, you're
And
right.
that's why we're seeing this. So
Yeah, I agree.
they're going to be done. They're going to start unwinding. And
Yeah.
when they do, that's what are people willing to pay for that?
I don't know.
It's gonna, because again, I mean, we've shown rates went up. The Fed funds rate is up a quarter point, and we are up 250 basis points.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So
It's
it
nuts.
does show a disconnect, right?
Yeah.
It's really just supply and demand in the bond market, supply and demand on mortgage paper.
Yeah. It is going to be really interesting because again, you're right. We went up 250 basis point on a quarter. The good news is for folks thinking that we have 100 basis point coming, which I think we do early May, early June. A lot of that is priced in already. So the good news is it won't be a 1-to-1 ratio going forward.
Yep.
But you're right. They're going to start selling stuff, treasuries and mortgages in May.
Yep. And what are people? And the thing is that do they then stop when they see what they're getting for it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the housing market goes into hibernation.
It certainly will to a point. I mean, we blazed through 4, didn't stop anything. We got to 5. It really still hasn't slowed down anything.
I don't know. I think 5 was a magic number. I really do.
I think 5 is a magic number. Yeah.
I'm hearing from agents and brokers and builders in the last 2 weeks, which is really where we broke 5. I get messages. A couple folks call me and they're like, I lost half my buyers. One builder in Vegas told me he lost half his buyer list. They didn't qualify anymore.
I'd like to see at 5.25, because I think the biggest thing about that is the banks are feeling like it's 06 again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're getting ahead of it. And I think they're changing all the formulas and changing all the debt to incomes and changing a lot of those things that then kind of accelerate the story. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see 5.25 for a month. And that way everybody gets a chance to kind of like absorb it and take the hit.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay. And then they have a couple weeks and then they're like, you know what? Okay. So it just adjusts what we can buy. We can't buy at 600. We need to buy at 5.25.
Yeah.
As opposed to right now, I think what they're doing is they're seeing it 5.5 and it was 375 or 4.25.
Yeah.
And they're like, then they haven't made the transition yet of, okay, now I can't buy that house, but I can still buy this house.
They're
and
running
I still need to buy something.
Yeah.
I think that the velocity in which this is happening is what's scaring people and getting them pushed to the sidelines faster.
100%. This is a velocity problem. And we're going to start hearing tomorrow. We have the big banks reporting over the next 48 hours. Mm-hmm. And usually banks print money when the Fed raises rates. Again, as we talked about in the Canadian discussion, video 1, rates went up too fast, in too brief a time. I believe banks are going to warn about earnings fall because the loan volume just cratered. But we'll find out in the next 48 hours. Where can people find you?
So yeah, real quickly, I have a HELOC that I've had for a super long time.
Uh-huh.
The rate was ridiculously low.
Mm-hmm.
It's not anymore. I'm paying.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not paying that.
I'm writing the check. So Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube, Lumberjack Landlord on Instagram, and live stream Sundays, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Very cool. Thanks, bud.
Thanks, Mike.